Elton John, Rocket Man, BBC Radio 2 on a big day. Lots of changes on the station today. And we will talk now about gammon. You heard about this word? There's an ongoing row about the use of it as an insult directed at white, plump, red-in-the-face, middle-aged men who voted for Brexit. It's become increasingly prominent over the last few months, the gammon word. It's typically something that younger left-wing fans of Jeremy Corbyn might fling at older men who say, leave means leave. And if you're still confused about what gammon has come to mean in 2018, this is a definition from the always up-to-date website Urban Dictionary.
Noun. A term used to describe a particular type of Brexit-voting, middle-aged white male, whose meat-faced complexion suggests they are perilously close to a stroke. The term gammon is linked to the unhealthy pink skin tone of such stout yeomen, probably because of high blood pressure caused by decades of PC gone mad, being defeated in arguments about the non-existent merits of Brexit and women getting the vote. Gammon often make their appearance on BBC's Question Time, jabbing their porcine fingers at the camera while demanding immediate nuclear strikes against Remain voting areas, people who eat vegetables and or cyclists. When gammon appears en masse, it is often referred to as a wall of gammon. An example of its use could be the phrase, "Did you see Question Time last night? It was absolutely rammed with gammon."
Right. Now, some people are arguing the phrase gammon is racist. It's a cheap slur on the millions of white middle-aged men who are pro-Brexit, and what's wrong with that? A DUP MP, Emma Little-Pengelly, tweeted her disgust yesterday. She said,
I'm appalled by the term gammon now frequently entering the lexicon of so many, mainly on the left and seemingly be accepted. This is a term based on skin, colour and age. Stereotyping by colour or age is wrong, no matter what race, age or community. It is just wrong.
Others have pointed out that people who are using the phrase gammon, or word I should say, are the very same crowd who would usually be outraged by any insulting slurs based on social class or race. So just how offensive is the word gammon in this context? Maybe you realise that you suddenly, just listening to this, you think, wait, they would call me gammon. And you can tell us what you make of that. Maybe you're gammon and proud. 08000 288 291. Joined by Matt Zarb-Cousin, former spokesperson for Jeremy Corbyn. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Wrote a very good article about this. Lucy Fisher as well, senior political correspondent for The Times, is in our Westminster studio. And then we're going to go to a listener as well who may fall into this category. Matt, first of all, did we get the definition right?
Kind of, yeah. I mean, it's not just about Brexit. They tend to be people who voted leave, have reactionary views. It's more of a state of mind, really. It's not about skin colour.
No, but they have a look about them, do they?
Well, that is symptomatic of, I think, the angry, very reactionary politics that we sometimes see, on display at Question Time in the audience. The guy jabbing his finger, asking Jeremy why isn't prepared to end the world with nuclear war. But it's not just about that. It is an outlook. No one's born a gammon, so how can it be racist?
Right. You say that you wrote a very good piece about it, and you say in it that the producers of BBC Question Time are in possession of a gammon radar, which allows them to get gammon into the studio from any postcode.
Yeah, there are rumours that they do possess this gammon radar, and in fact, it does make very good TV. I'm not going to lie. I watch Question Time, and actually, when you've got the reactionary right-wing guy in the audience jabbing his finger and shouting at the panel, of course it's good TV.
Handlebar
but these people
moustache.
Sometimes, but these people aren't representative, really, of. They're overrepresented on TV, and I think what we find sometimes from the right is, because they don't really encounter many working class people, they have this projection of all working class people are these kind of right-wing, reactionary, anti-immigrant Leave voters, which is just not true.
Okay, well, hang on. We may come back to that point because that slightly sounds a bit contradictory. Lucy Fisher, senior political correspondent for The Times. You think this is verging on racism, do you? Or at least it's in the area where it's a nasty personal attack on people.
Yeah, I think it's certainly personal. Whether or not it's a statement about race, it seems to me it's clearly a statement about culture and class. To quote Matt himself, who wrote an article about gammon earlier this year, he described gammon as manifesting itself as having high blood pressure and a red meat complexion. Baldness is optional, as are dodgy tattoos, and the uniform of the gammon is bootcut jeans, loafers, and an open-collared white polyester shirt.
Is that because bootcut jeans doesn't sound right to me?
Well,
Is that?
I'm just sort of, I think it's personal because it's getting at the idea that these people, presumably the idea is bootcut jeans and loafers are somehow outmoded. Polyester shirts, that sounds pretty classist appraisal to me. But I just think that the idea of, senior high-profile people like Matt kind of attacking people on this personal level isn't helpful to Labour when these are precisely the kind of voters that the party should be trying to win over rather than alienate.
And you make the point in your piece today, Lucy, in the Times, again, great piece to read, that a lot of these people may well be working class, as they would have been called, and therefore it's Labour laughing at its roots, you were saying.
Yeah, I think that's right. And I think, in a way, I think that this sort of grew up as an in-joke online, where presumably the kind of activists hurling the term around didn't think that the targets of it, these so-called gammon, would be able to see it. But it has had cut through, as you noted. Emma Little Pengelly, an MP, has kind of raised concerns about maybe a racial element to it. And yeah, I just think it's not helpful either to kind of winning over those voters, but it's also got the power potentially to repel onlookers for whom it leaves a bad taste in the mouth, this kind of arrogance and scorn.
When I wrote the article in February, it was a kind of introduction to the topic. I didn't crystallise the definition of gammon. I was just kind of using, quite humorous language. But let's actually take it for what it is. The left for the last 3 years have experienced a huge amount of name calling, a huge amount of lots of labels, cultists, trots, hard left. We've heard
those are old. These. It seems as if to some people the left have made up new words like melt.
What we've done is we've appropriated the style of the right.
Oh, I see.
To come up with funny labels, and all of these are really funny.
Better than that, Matt. I just feel like you as Corbyn's former spokesman, you've got a really good grip on Labour's desired policies, and wouldn't it be better spending your time kind of fighting on the issues rather than insulting the electorate?
No, because
even if it's supposed to be funny.
What you've been seeking to do, the right and the mainstream press, is delegitimise the left by using these labels, and they are completely wrong. They're completely false, and it actually.
What labels?
Okay, well, hang on. Trot and left wing and hard.
Hold on, Trot.
Can we just speak to our listener because we have somebody who thinks he may be gammon, and it's Roy Evans from Letchworth Garden City, and you've listened to the definitions, Roy, and that's you, is it?
I don't think so.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, your Brexit.
I misread this. Maybe this is the point. This man must have sometime, I suppose, played chess, because a gambit opening move in chess is trying to gain the advantage of an opponent. Is that what he's trying to do? Because he's doing no good for the socialist movement, as far as I can see. Now, I'm a floater. I voted socialist, I voted liberal, I voted independent and conservative. Now, it makes no difference to me. He can call me all the names he likes. But when that ballot box opens, that's between me and my conscience, and I won't be hanging on the towel of a Jeremy Corbyn. I'll be trying to go door to door, or if I was that young man, and trying to get himself into the House of Parliament.
Yeah, but you're pro-Brexit, Roy.
Oh, yes, the sooner we're out, Jeremy, the faster we're out, the better for this man, because I'm a Commonwealth man.
OK, now Matt, that would seem like it is close to your definition. Is that right or not?
Well, I don't know. I mean, this is not really the point, though. The point is, for the last 3 years, the right has tried to delegitimise the left and stifle debate about genuine policies and about how to improve the country, firing labels like trot and whatever else. And the second that the left does it back, it's in the Times. Last week in the Times, Melanie Phillips claimed that Islamophobia wasn't real. That's real racism. Not calling someone
but address
gammon.
Roy's concern. If you're concerned, Roy, that you may be gammon, is there anything we can sort out now that proves you're not? I mean, what would he need to say, Matt, to convince you he's not a gammon?
Well, look, I don't know. I don't know what his politics are. I don't know if he's been in the Question Time audience. Maybe he has. Maybe he has been jabbing his finger at the panel, and maybe he is overrepresented in the media, and maybe it is the projection that the mainstream media have of the working class. I don't know. I don't know him.
Yeah.
But I mean, the point is, the left has every right to fire back at the right for their name calling, which is what they do.
All right. And so in a way, Roy, maybe some people are caught a little bit, I won't say you, but you're caught in the crossfire here where the left and the Corbynites have thought, well, we're going to aim back here a little bit.
I think myself, Jeremy, this is smoke because of 70 million people voting to come out of Europe. Whether they're left, right, you think every one of those was a Conservative right that voted for us to come out of Europe?
Well, good point, Lucy. That's your point as well, really, isn't it?
Does that young man think that everybody that voted to come out of Europe was Conservative?
No, obviously not.
Well, where are you living? Because there's something wrong with people that keep on saying that somebody's calling us names when you're doing the name calling. You're not a socialist.
Yeah, but the difference between me is I don't have a newspaper to call those names, to use that to name call. I've got a Twitter account.
Yeah, but you're linked to Labour. You're linked to Jeremy.
To anyone.
You used to work for Jeremy Corbyn.
So I'm a bloke with a Twitter account.
You can hear how difficult this is, Lucy, because Roy may fit perfectly the definition of gammon, but he doesn't recognise it himself at all. And fair play to him.
It's absolutely fine. But I think that some people will think that it's maybe being directed at them, or they're being mocked or ridiculed. One person I spoke to last week when we were discussing the term gammon sort of, quite woundedly sort of said, these people, Labour activists here are talking about my dad, So I think it just has the power to, repel people from the party. My point is that this is not a very smart move for activists to try and kind of win over voters by kind of calling them names. I just think the time would be better spent by, talking about policy.
Amen. That's exactly what we want.
Right.
That's
We're
exactly
agreed then.
No, exactly.
Right.
So now we can have a ceasefire.
Okay,
Fantastic.
well, Roy, what do you think? Is this part of political debate or not?
I think it's racist. If you say anything about the black race in this country, it's racist. But if you say it about the white population in this country, isn't that racism?
Okay, thank you very much indeed, Roy and Lucy and Matt, talking about gammon and whether it is a racist term aimed at a certain kind of older white man.